later on Canvas. So what we're going to talk about is adding and subtracting rational numbers today. Okay, can somebody remind me, somebody unmute yourself and remind me what a rational number is? Does anybody remember? Anybody remember what a rational number is? Rational numbers are what? Or type it in the chat. Okay, remember, rational numbers are your fractions and decimals. So I need everybody, thank you, Brooke, yes, fractions. I need everybody to have their calculator also because we are going, when we get to decimals, we're going to use our calculator for that. I'm not going to expect you to do all the decimal stuff in your head, okay? So we're going to work with adding and subtracting rational numbers, which is fractions and decimals. So let's look at this first one here. We're going to start with decimals. And we have to remember our rules for integers because it's also going to apply to the decimals and fractions. Okay. So remember saying signs, add and keep. Hopefully this is showing up on your screen for you. And then different signs, subtract. Keep the sign of the bigger number. Okay, so here's where we have to be really careful, you guys. When you look at number 1, okay, it says 0.3 plus negative 1.2. Are they the same or different signs? Unmute yourself and shout it out. Same or different? We'll get used to doing this. I promise. Anybody willing to? Same or different on number 1?
Different.
Different. Thank you. They are different signs. So since they are different signs, that means we have to subtract. Okay, so we're going to take 1.2 and subtract 0.3. Now, I don't care if you use your calculator at that point to do that. Okay, I can type into my calculator 1.2 minus 0.3, and I get an answer of 0.9. Should my answer be negative or positive? And you can type it in the chat if you want. It should be what?
Negative.
Negative. Thank you, guys. Okay, I promise it'll get easier to answer questions and just unmute yourself just like if we were in class. So our answer would be negative 0.9. Okay, and number 2, are they the same or different? Okay, I'm seeing some people type in the chat. Thank you, Savannah. They are the same. So if they're the same, that means we just add. We're going to take 12.1 plus 0.45. And I'm going to use my calculator. You can do it by hand, but you don't have to. 12.1 plus 0.45, and you get 12.55. Since they were the same and they're both negative, I have to put a negative sign on my answer. So I have negative 12.55 as my answer. Okay, any questions on that one? All right, then I'm going to have you guys try this one on your own. So go ahead and hit the start button. So Jordan, I'm going to have you refresh your screen. It should be letting you try this problem right now. Okay, so now this is the only part. Remember, we do have to do a split screen here so that you guys can see what I'm showing you on Zoom and compare it to your answer. But if you did this correctly, you should have got an answer of negative 0.9. Okay, or if you just put negative 0.9, that's okay too. Same thing. Okay, remember, because they are different signs, we have to subtract the 1.3 minus 0.4, which is 0.9. And then they're, oh, sorry, it shouldn't be negative. My bad. It should be positive. I'm sorry, you guys. There's more positives, so good thing I double checked my work. There's more positives, so it should be positive 0.9. Okay, any questions on that? Any questions at all? Okay, then we're going to go to the next thing, which is adding and subtracting fractions. And today is going to kind of be really easy because we are just adding and subtracting fractions with like denominators. Okay, so the denominator is always going to be the same. So then all we have to worry about is the numerator. And hopefully we all remember a little bit how to add and subtract fractions. But if I have 1/8 plus 3/8, and let's say this is a pizza, the 8 just means it's cut into 8 separate parts. Okay? And if I'm going to eat one of the 8 pieces right now, and then later I come back and I eat 3 more, okay, that now means that I have eaten 4/8 of the pizza. Okay, hopefully not. Eating half a pizza is a lot. But 4 out of 8, I can simplify that to 1/2. You have to make sure that you simplify your fractions as we go today. So don't forget to simplify everything. Okay? So if I look at a problem like this one, negative 2/9 minus 5/9. Okay, one thing to remember is if you see subtracting, you guys, we're still going to do our keep, change. So don't forget, I'm going to keep the first fraction. I'm going to change and change. So it's negative 2/9. The negative sign can just go up with the top number. Plus, I'm going to change that to a plus and change the second one to negative 5/9. Okay, when we add or subtract fractions, we keep the bottom number the same, so it's going to be a 9. And then we just deal with the top. It's negative 2 plus negative 5. Same signs, add and keep, so it's negative 7/9 as our answer. Okay, on the second one, we have adding, so we leave it as adding. Are they the same or different signs? Unmute yourself and shout it out. Same or different?
Different.
Different, very good. Okay, so if they're different, what do? If they're different signs, we
Subtract.
subtract, thank you. So we're going to subtract. The denominator stays the same. We always leave the bottom number the same when we're dealing with adding and subtracting fractions, and we subtract. 6 plus negative 3, 6 minus 3 is 3. There's more positives than negatives, so my answer is 3/7. Okay, questions there? All right, I want you to try these 2 problems. See what you come up with. If you get stuck, that's okay. We'll go over them in a little bit. One's a decimal and one's a fraction. See what you come up with. Jesse, absolutely. You can go ahead and write in your notebook. So that's a good question. She had asked, can I just show my work in my notebook and write my answer down? Yeah, that is totally fine, you guys. If you are using your notebook, go ahead and use that. Okay, I think most of us are getting close to done, so I'm going to have you split your screen so you can see the answers. The first one, 12.1 minus x. I'm going to, one thing, some of you guys had 12 and some of you had 12.2. The answer is 12.2. Okay, so I'm going to rewrite this. It's 12, let me grab my pen first. 12.1 minus negative 0.1. And here's the mistake some of you made. When you had 12, you forgot to do keep, change, change. So don't forget 12.1 plus positive 0.1. So that ends up being, you can type it in your calculator, but it ends up being 12.2. Okay. On the next one, we have 7/10 plus 3 1/10. And most of you were very close to the correct answer. You had 3 8/10. And that's almost right. Can anybody tell me what's wrong with that answer? You put the whole number with 3, you added the 7 and the 1 to get 8. What did I?
Simplified.
Not simplified, absolutely. Okay, so don't forget, lots of you, as I'm looking at your homework or looking at your guys' screens, some of you, I saw you switch it to a decimal. You can't switch it to a decimal. I want you to have it as a fraction. But then you forgot to simplify it. Remember, 8 and 10 can both be divided by 2. So it's 3 4/5 is what you should have had as your final answer. Okay? Questions there?